It's good, YouTube. We back again with another reaction. And today, we about to react to 2026 predictions from a remote viewer. So, yeah, Elizabeth April is her name. So, yeah, we about to get into it and see what this is about. If you don't know what remote viewing is, it's like you being at one place, but you're seeing like a whole other area. Pretty much your consciousness is viewing from a remote area. Pretty much. You're not having to be there. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into this video.
So some of the most surprising places I've ever been are these underground military bases where not only are there rampant extraterrestrial presence there are also other things that were quite surprising, like a cloning facility. Some of it's pretty horrific.
Are there specific celebrities that you have identified as being?
See, they cloned Tyrone, bro. It was in the movie, it was a documentary, or at least part of it. Maybe replaying it out right now. Who knows?
Shapeshifters?
It's going to sound so crazy. They're replaced.
Oh, now it's going to sound crazy, Elizabeth.
What do you predict for 2026?
I really never thought I'd be publicly talking about this ever, but one of the big things that I saw was
Elizabeth April, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
You are a certified remote viewer. What does certified remote viewer mean? And for a person that is skeptical like myself, what would the certification aspect of that, how would that quell some of the sensations of skepticism one may have?
Yeah, absolutely. So I taught myself remote viewing in 2010 when I was around 18 years old. Just naturally through actually like past life regression techniques and deep states of trance meditation. So that was all self-taught. I was floating out of my body at an early age. So it's something that I've kind of always done. Just in 2024 and 2025, I sort of asked the question, how can I prove what I do? Right? Because I talk about a lot of pretty crazy stuff, and I wanted to validate and anchor in what I did into sort of the mainstream rhetoric a little bit more. And so I ended up finding a really reputable institution called the Farsight Institute. And they've essentially taken CIA remote viewing techniques. They call it SRV, or scientific remote viewing. It's scientific because it's done blind. Okay. And it can be reproduced as well. And so essentially I thought to myself, well, if I'm a self-taught remote viewer, I wonder if I can do the CIA type of style scientific remote viewing. I don't know if they translate, but might as well test it out, and find out. And so I signed up with a teacher with the Farsight Institute, and I started doing these SRV classes. And essentially they would give you a blind target. So the target would consist of 8 numbers, just random numbers, not longitude, latitude. And those coordinates are linked to a location, a place, a time. Now, what's really cool about remote viewing is it can be any place and any time, either on or off planet Earth, in the past, in history, and so on and so forth. So it's really not restricted to the present moment.
Imagine. So it's pretty much time traveling right there. That's crazy. And if y'all think, this cap or woo, like, go look it up. The CIA underclassified documents, bro. Like, it's all in there. They got all type of stuff, bro. So I mean, check it out. You might be surprised.
And so there are 3 levels of certification, right? The third level is like sort of you're like a master remote viewer and you get to teach that technique to others. I am certified in both level 1 and level 2. Each certification required double blind, which means that I had 2 different teachers test me in a blind, I guess, environment. And then it was about a 4 to 5 hour exam. So it was pretty intensive. And out of the entire training program, out of 20 targets that I have been given, I've been 20 for 20. So I've actually never been off target, which is pretty impressive. Yeah.
What are the targets? It's eight digits in a geographical location that you're not aware of?
Yeah, exactly. All you
and
get
you're 20
is 8
for
digits.
20?
And I'm 20 for 20.
All right.
Yeah. So you could put me into a blank room, right? With no doors, no windows, nothing, right? No stimulation. Give me 8 digits that's linked to a location throughout space and time. And I'm able to tune into that and basically see the location. Not only can I see it, I can see buildings. I can go inside buildings. I can smell the air. Like, it's pretty wild what you can do with remote viewing. So
That is wild. It's mad wild. If you ain't know, or I heard, Stranger Things. That was based off of like a real story, if y'all ain't know. And like back in the days, I think around the time that took place, like the Cold War and all that with Russia or USSR versus the US. Yeah, they was trying to get psychics and all that. So they was pretty much trying to beat each other to the beat. Beat each other to the punch, I mean, to get people to remote view so they could see the plans and everything because they was at war and stuff. So it's crazy. Again, this is back in the days. So imagine now what people have accessibility to or what's accessible.
suffice to say, my natural abilities did translate over to a more CIA level sort of scientific remote view.
Could you do that with me here? Like, what would it take for me to write down 8 digits here and for you to be able to I mean, I presume we don't have enough time to do that in a podcast, but like, what's the process?
It takes a while. Yeah. So it was about 2 to 3 hours per location, right? To get sort of the finished result. So it does take quite a while to do the method and tap in.
What does tapping in look like? What is your process?
Well, I mean, it really depends, right? So for me, as far as me teaching myself, I have to get into a state of something called equanimity. Equanimity is a state where you are aware of all.
Yeah, that's a new word for the vocabulary.
Sensation without reaction. All right. So that means your stomach is gurgling because you're hungry. You're aware of that sensation, but you're not reacting to it. And all of a sudden that sensation goes away. There's a chill in the room. You're aware of it, but you're not distracted by it. And then, it's like tuning out.
So it's kind of like you getting an itch while you meditating or something like that, and you just disregard it until it goes away, or you just keep your focus on whatever you focused on instead of like moving or doing whatever, like itching to scratch and then coming back. Feel me?
Your focus of every aspect of this reality to get yourself into a 0 point state or a neutral state. Once you're in that neutral state, you're in a space where everything exists and nothing exists simultaneously. Once you're in that place, you can then input your own coordinates.
That's crazy. Imagine being in a place where nothing and everything exists at the same time. Like, how does that even? That's crazy to fathom. But we are living in the future right now, 2026. We got AI, we got all type of stuff. So it's not really hard to fathom, really. It is, but it's like, I feel like in a few years, probably a decade, the amount of stuff that has been accomplished is going to be crazy. The amount of stuff that happened by that time, 2036. Like, look at how far AI has gotten. It's been like a few years, like 2023, maybe. That's when I first started hearing about it, or 24, one of the two. But it's really been ramping up. You could do all type of stuff now. You could barely even see what's what, like what's real, what's not. They should have watermarks at this point because some of the stuff be unrecognizable as AI. So it, the amount of stuff how quickly we're advancing is could be a little scary sometimes. I ain't going front, but it's cool. It's cool as hell at the same time.
So for me, when I don't have the digits and a teacher sort of guiding me to a location, I just input my own coordinates. So if I want to go to an underground military base, I get to that space of 0 point and I can go anywhere I want to go, both on and off planet.
What's some of the most surprising, shocking things that you've experienced in your remote viewing journeys? Is there anything that stands out?
A lot of things. So on planet, it was a lot of like military stuff. So back in the day, I went to university. I double majored in political science with an interest in global politics and then communication studies. And, you know, for me, I either wanted to be a politician or a lawyer. Of course, I wanted to change the system. Then I realized you couldn't change the system from the inside. So
I feel you on that. I ain't going front.
that was kind of, you know, kiboshing that direction. But I was so interested in political corruption. And so at the time when I was in university at 18 and I was starting to remote view and get out of my body, that's all I wanted to do. I wanted to know what the governments were doing behind the scenes. And so some of the most surprising places I've ever been are these underground military bases where not only are there rampant extraterrestrial presence there, but there are also other things that were quite surprising, like a cloning facility, multiple cloning facilities. There are huge underground bunkers, unfortunately, with a lot of human trafficking contained within it. There are railroad systems that are all underground, sort of connecting different states. There are, you know, sort of these super soldier biological experiments that are happening in these underground bases. Like, some of it's pretty horrific. And I was seeing and witnessing all this stuff back in 2010, 2011, 2012. And honestly, I just didn't feel safe talking about my experiences until the 2020s. Just because I felt like I could very easily be targeted for what I was doing.
Who runs the world?
Great question. So it's definitely not any country. I mean, there's like layers to it, right? So we could say, oh yeah, it's the 13 bloodlines, right? These 13 sort of Rothschild type bloodlines, or the richest families of the world. Like they run everything, right? If we were to kind of pinpoint it and put a name to it, it's the people that we don't see on TV. It's the people that we don't see behind the podium. It's the people who are not the president, who absolutely run the world. I like to call them the shadow government, right? Because regardless of borders or countries, they're the ones who are ultimately in control of things.
And so when people say they, you didn't say they in that moment. I imagine they will come up. How do we most definitively, objectively define they? Are there names? Is it reptile people? Is Illuminati mean? Like, how do we isolate in the most pragmatic, practical way a definition of they for all of the they sayers across the planet on the internet or, at Burning Man or whatever? Who is they?
Yeah. Okay. Well, like I said, if you want if you want names, right, I'd go to the 13 richest families, right? Um, and so that would be like a solid list, right, to get started off with. But a lot of these individuals who do run things, like they're not in the public face, right? Like they don't have the names. Their photos are not on the internet. They don't have social media presence, and things like that. So they're essentially this organization. Some call them the Illuminati, which is sort of an organization within that organization. But if you want to go to the very top, if you want to actually talk about who they are, yeah, I do believe that they are giant reptilian beings who are running things. And I know it sounds absolutely crazy, but everything I've been talking about for over 10 years sound really crazy. And now it's all being quite validated in the Epstein files.
Yeah, so another thing that's interestingly enough not really being spoken on. And interestingly enough, a war broke out right after the release. All type of stuff was going on, seemingly right after the release of that. I don't know, bro. Yeah, I guess it could be a coincidence.
Right. So here we are today. Let's just get crazy because that's what I've seen, and when I first saw these reptile beings, I didn't know what to call them. I called them dinosaur beings for a long time, for quite a few years, because I didn't know they had a name. So that's what they look like to me. They look like humanoid dinosaurs.
Who is Epstein?
I think in a lot of ways, Epstein was a puppet. Same thing. I mean, you hear his name even before the Epstein files. You heard his name everywhere. I believe Ghislaine Maxwell was actually his handler. Essentially what that means is if you've got like a puppet or a pawn within the shadow government organization, you have like a handler, not necessarily like a bodyguard, but someone to like keep track of what you're doing, what you're saying. And so Ghislaine Maxwell and her family were deeply connected to the sort of upper echelon of the shadow government, and they had Epstein essentially do a lot of their dirty work. So, I mean, they're all culpable, like they're all, crimes against humanity. They're all a part of it, but by no means was Epstein at the top, which is pretty scary to say.
What is the end goal for the?
Like, imagine if you're not at the top and you did all that, like, I don't even want to imagine, bro. It's crazy.
These rapacious, vacuous, hungry ghost reptile people.
Yeah, so the end goal has always been control, right? If we go all the way back to ancient human history and we see how human beings have evolved, because that's something that I remote viewed almost right off the bat. I wanted to know where we came from. And what I saw way back in the day, right, the origins of humanity is that we evolved from different extraterrestrial races, right? That's the missing link. And so originally it was the Anunnaki who came here to sort of seed plant and essentially create a slave race from the Neanderthal.
See, I heard, yeah, I definitely heard about the Anunnaki. It's like, if you want to know more about that, I think you could find it. And I forgot what you call that. But oh yeah, Enki and Enlil. I forgot the book that they made. Or it's like some type of book that explains what happened or something like that, but I don't know. I never read it. So I wouldn't know, but I have heard about it. It's interesting.
Of human beings. But the reptilians were already on this planet, and the reptilians at that time believed that this planet was theirs. And so they didn't really like the Anunnaki coming here and evolving this slave race, to be human. And so the Anunnaki said, well, that's fine. Eventually when we don't need them anymore, they can be your slaves, right? So ever since the dawning of humanity, the reptilians have believed this planet is theirs, and that we are essentially the slaves. And now that our population has sort of grown out of control, they are determined to control us and depopulate us and make sure that, we continue to follow their rule.
What? Not gonna lie. They do be talking about depopulation, bro. So, I don't know, man.
What are they so bitter about? They have like troubled childhoods. Like why it seems like evil. And my general belief is like the substrate of the universe and consciousness is love. And if you're acting outside of love or in like a place of what the Bible will call sin, it's just like a topical layer of shadow or contraction kind of blocking you from your truth, which is love. Why are they so shitty? Why are they so cunty?
They're bitter.
What are they so mad at? They just need a hug.
They're bitter because they believe that this planet is theirs and they see us as a parasite that's taken over this planet, and they want to take the planet back. They want control of the planet, and now we have more of us than there are of them. And we're starting to wake up to the truth, and they're starting to lose a lot of their control, right? So they're scared right now.
Where are they?
Okay, so the majority of the reptilians are underground. So they actually live in these underground tunnels. Sometimes they're more structured like underground cities. But yeah, mostly like just giant underground caves. Those are sort of the low level reptilians. The high level reptilians, or the high bloodline reptilians, are above ground, and they have both DNA and technology to shapeshift into human form. And so they've been doing that to essentially hide their true identity, once again, since the dawning of humanity, and to control us through being human, essentially. So, I mean, the thing is about the Epstein files, right? It's like, okay, great. So like we can all agree that these are horrific crimes against humanity that have been playing out under our noses this entire time. Okay, cool. And now who's doing this? And everyone's saying, oh, well, it's the elites. It's the people with the money. It's the 1%. Great. I can't wait for all of us to get to a point where we realize that the elites are actually non-human beings who have been essentially tarnishing humanity since the beginning, So like that's the next great unveiling. And I think that cosmic disclosure may not come from a UFO in the sky. I think it might come from a giant shape-shifting celebrity just showing its true form in front of millions of people.
I'd like to take a moment and share a word from our sponsor. This podcast is brought to you by AX3 BioPure Astaxanthin. I am personally very excited about astaxanthin from AX3 because astaxanthin is hands down one of the strongest natural compounds on the face of the planet to support in longevity by reducing chronic inflammation in the body and also reducing oxidative stress on the body. So it's very helpful for the health and the youthfulness of your skin. So it supports your skin in being more elastic and hydrated and plump and healthy. It's also supportive with reducing inflammation, not just the joints and the muscles, but also the brain. So it's supportive with recovery, but is also very neuroprotective and supportive with reducing cognitive decline. It's actually been studied by the NIH, the National Institute of Health, and found to extend the lifespan of mice by around 12%, which was unheard of in NIH history. This stuff is incredible. It is the stuff that makes salmon that lush pink color. In one single serving of this, you'll get about as much astaxanthin as you would an entire pound of wild caught sockeye salmon, or up to 4 pounds of farm-raised Atlantic salmon. This stuff is incredible.
You learn something new every day, even from the sponsor. I usually skip those. Glad I didn't.
I think it's a very important compound. I think you'll learn more about this as the years go on. If you want to try it yourself and support your own health, you can go to ax3.life/align and you'll get incredible 20% off your order. That is ax3.life/align for 20% off.
I feel like that might be beneficial. If you feel like that might be beneficial, then go ahead.
Are there specific celebrities that you have identified as being shapeshifters?
Yes, absolutely. What's interesting right now is they're actually, this is going to sound so crazy. They're replacing.
Oh, now it's going to sound crazy, Elizabeth.
Now it's going to get crazy.
Hold on.
No, that was nothing. They are replacing the shape-shifting reptilian celebrities with clones. Right? Like that is some sci-fi shit right there. But unfortunately, it's true. And it's just what I've seen in my remote viewing. And I really never thought I'd be publicly talking about this ever because it is so crazy. But that's what they're doing. So like, Justin Bieber is a shape-shifting reptilian. Kim Kardashian and the whole Kardashian clan, reptilians. Biden, Hillary Clinton, and the Clintons are reptilians. There's actually a lot of political newscasters that are reptilian. And so this is where a lot of the blood and sex rituals come from. This is where a lot of the drinking the blood and the adrenochrome come from, is because once again, these aren't humans doing these crimes. These are an off-world race doing these crimes.
I mean, to be fair, that's like, yeah, because I can't fathom doing the stuff that I've heard people be doing, bro. So, I mean, yeah, it tracks. I ain't gonna lie.
How reliable have your past predictions been? Because that's something that is a pretty ballsy or labia-y thing for the gals to do, is like make very clear, definitive, date-based predictions. What's your averages for predictions?
I inputted my prediction video transcript of 2025 into ChatGPT in July of 2025. And I asked, how accurate have my predictions been? And they gave me an 89% rating halfway through the year, which is pretty wild. Down to very specific predictions like plane crashes. So yeah, I mean, I would say for the most part, fairly accurate, but no one can solidly predict the future. And it's because the future is full of timelines. The future is full of probabilities, especially when you're taking a look at the collective timelines. Those are shifting and shaping and changing all the time. So no one can accurately, with 100% certainty, predict the future. And I always tell everyone, take everything with a grain of salt. If this crazy stuff resonates with you, fantastic. It's for you. And if not, no big deal. I'm not here to convince anyone of anything. I only know this information because I've seen it firsthand, and I can't expect anyone else to agree to it unless they've experienced it firsthand as well.
Yeah, that timeline stuff is trippy. Like everything metaphysical or quantum, whatever, is so trippy if you ask me. But the fact that like deja vu, also the Mandela effect, all type of stuff that be happening, like it's trippy. And then time travel, the movies, the concepts itself is already trippy. So imagine like being able to actually do that. I mean, she's saying that remote viewing you could do that, but imagine like without that, like in real life, and you can actually affect things. But that I think that should probably need to be controlled. I'm not gonna hold you because you can't let the wrong person get their hands on that. It'll be messing up a whole bunch of stuff. That'd be crazy.
What is time? Is past, present, future all aligning or top each other in some way? How do you define time?
Yeah, so I believe that time is nonlinear, right? Like we have been taught that time is linear. So instead of thinking about time going one, two, three, or A, B, C, think about time stacked on top of each other. So it'd be A, B, and C. So it's like, I mean, it's so woo woo and spiritual, be like everything's happening in the now moment, right? But time does happen simultaneously. And I first realized this when I got a past life regression at 16. And over an hour and a half period of time, I was able to experience from birth to death 5 entire lifetimes that felt like they were currently existing, which is pretty wild. So not only is time weird and something that
That ain't pretty wild. That's ridiculously wild. That's ugly wild. I ain't gonna lie. That's wild as hell. Like, it's crazy. 5, imagine. Like,
we should be talking about more often, but I mean, glitches in the matrix and timeline hopping and infinite probabilities and different realities are also all currently existing. And because the vibration is shifting on planet Earth, we're getting into a place where glitches and Mandela effects are happening a lot more often. I mean, if you've ever experienced a deja vu, which I think up to like 60% of the population has, then it's a pretty good indication that you've experienced firsthand simultaneous time.
What is a Mandela effect?
So a Mandela effect is what I like to describe as like a glitch in the matrix, right? So it's essentially, part of the population remember one thing and the other part of the population remember an alternate thing, kind of like the Berenstain Bears versus the Berenstain Bears, or at the end of the Star Wars movie, it's Luke, I am your father, which is a line that never existed. It was always apparently, no, I am your father, And so that blows people's minds that these things have changed. And
I ain't gonna lie. I remember Luke, I am your father. I remember that. Definitely remember that.
when you go back to look at it, apparently our memory is just off, whereas I believe that timeline did absolutely exist. And the glitch in the matrix or the Mandela effect is the fact that some of us remember those alternate timelines.
Are you optimistic or pessimistic about the concept of the future since time doesn't exist?
Oh, I'm so optimistic.
Nice.
I'm so optimistic because I can observe everything objectively, and I believe that light and dark need to simultaneously exist here in order to experience the full spectrum of what it means to be human. So even in challenging moments, I can find gratitude and, appreciation within it and learn from it, and then move forward. So I really think that the future is bright. I think that we're well on our way. I think that the world isn't getting worse. We're finally just seeing the corruption for what it's always been.
What do you predict?
That is one way to look at it. So I think that's a better way to look at it as well. It's nice, more positive.
For 2026? What are the standout course of events that would be mentionable in a conversation like this for 2026?
Okay, there's one big one. I mean, of course, there's always like economic things and political things, and I saw a lot of like AI stuff and like home robots and like this whole like human, what was it? Was it human first or people first or something? Movement that was going to happen with these AI robots.
That's not going to work.
Yeah.
Bro, that sounds like Detroit becoming human. I forgot the name of that game, but if you know what I'm talking about, you know. That's how that shit just sounded. Rights for robots and all that, AI and stuff. I'm sure that's gonna come. Like the way things are headed now, like, and the way AI is advancing, they already got robots. They got vacuum cleaner robots and all that, like, and knows how to clean by itself. It does it by itself. I be seeing them dogs, cyber dogs. I don't even know what you call that, but I be seeing them with Amazon and like to deliver packages and stuff. They be doing that. So, and we in 2026, just imagine the way everything is advancing. There's a bullet train, there's all type of stuff, bro. So imagine a few years time, I think less than 10 years, bro, really. The way we going, so like it's not gonna be too long before there's robots like walking and doing all that, and then they just gonna get more and more sentient and stuff. I mean, man, that's gonna be crazy to see. But that looks like where we be headed. So definitely, it's crazy.
So, I mean, you can't stop
How do
progress.
you
A lot
thi-
of like regular.
how do you think that'll do? Because there will probably be people that are persnickety about AI being more efficient than humans at putting together cell phones or whatever. But naturally, things will likely it just intuitively it seems like they would have to move towards efficiency. And if robots are better at something mechanistic or knowledge based, then naturally that will be the direction. It's like Uber versus taxis, I'd imagine. How is that going to look for people?
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone's really scared of, say, like losing their job, but I think jobs will only evolve as they always have. I mean, look at the Industrial Revolution. Like everyone was so scared of factories, right? But like it's the efficiency that won. So I don't think that we have anything to be fearful of. Obviously, there's pros and cons to any big movement, especially when we don't really know how it's going to impact us long term. But that's where we're moving. We're moving to a civilization that is highly advanced, and we have to accept these technologies and learn how to sort of navigate them in order to fully integrate them appropriately into society. So, yeah, I don't think that we need to squash evolution because that's naturally where we're going.
I interrupted you. I apologize. And in relation to the AI conversation, what do you foresee happening with AI in 2026?
Okay, well, like I said, there's going to be a lot of like government regulation is what it looked like. There's going to be this like human first movement. People are going to start pushing back on like the at home robots and things like that. But I mean, there's not much that even the governments can do. So that'll be really fascinating. I saw a lot of, so basically a downturn in the stock market economically, an uptick in crypto, also an uptick in precious metals. It was so funny. So the other day I had this book tour and someone came up to me and they bought a book with like a silver ounce, right? And people have given me precious metals to buy my books before. And I bought silver such a long time ago that I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Like 1 silver ounce, $20, the book is $20. Like, this is perfect. And he comes over, he's like, yeah, so like, this is $85, but I don't need change back. And I'm like, what are you talking about? A silver ounce is $85? Have you lost your mind? Clearly I have not been watching the markets. I've said for years now, for over a decade, silver is undervalued. If you're going to invest in precious metals, invest in silver, don't invest in gold. I mean, and here we are, right? It's pretty wild. So there's going to be, that's what we're seeing, but that's kind of the trend anyway, is where we're going. And then what else did I see? I saw some weird sort of connection between, and this is going to sound wild, but Elon Musk and Vladimir Putin. Okay. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know what that is. I know that recently there was some sort of, was it like the satellites got shut down in Russia or Ukraine or something. So I'm not sure if that was the connection I was looking at between the two of them. I also saw a lot of bombing, obviously well before, the wars that have taken place here. And then I also saw a huge movement away from globalization, which, I mean, I did this prediction video in December. I always do it the year before, technically, just to make sure that everyone knows that this is definitely, done beforehand. And then right off the bat in January, Trump started pulling out of the United Nations and the World Health Organization and all of these huge global sort of organizations. And so we're every country is going to have this movement back into itself. How can we be more self-sufficient? I don't have opinions on any of these things. These are just things that I saw. But one of the big things that I saw was this giant mushroom cloud. And it kind of felt like an apocalyptic type, cataclysmic nuclear event. And what's so wild is about a month ago, I was mentioning this in a podcast interview, and they said that there was a group of remote viewers, and I believe with the Monroe Institute, who remote viewed 2026. And once again, that's all they saw was this giant mushroom cloud.
Well, hopefully something to not look forward to. But we had a ceasefire right now in the war, so for mushroom cloud, if that's what they seen, then I don't think that's good in any stretch of the imagination. Because we know what previous mushroom clouds equated to with Hiroshima and stuff like that. So I don't know about that. But and also, if you don't know, the Monroe Institute is like a school for like psychic and stuff like that, psychics and stuff, people like that. If you want to enhance those abilities and stuff.
And so there's nothing to be scared of, because once again, this is just one timeline and probability. And what happens if one timeline collapses is that our souls can actually hop timelines, which is where the Mandela effect comes in. So we may have it in June or in September. A lot of people are going to get online. They're like, I'm having these weird apocalyptic dreams, or maybe really religious people are thinking that, what is the event where people like levitate out of
the rapture?
What is it called?
Like the biblical type?
Yeah, the
scenario?
biblical one. What is it called?
I don't know. The word's escaping me as well.
Yeah. Okay.
The rapture. The rapture.
Thank you. So yeah, people are going to really start to feel this like impending doomsday event. And then all of a sudden we're going to have a portion of the population waking up thinking, I swear the world just ended yesterday. So I don't know why I'm here today. And there's going to be a big Mandela effect happen where, yeah, there was a cataclysmic event, but it was in an alternate timeline. And then they just shifted over to this timeline, which is so fascinating. And when you really think about the concept of soul fractals and different timelines and probabilities and shifting in and out of these probabilities, we can really answer the question of who are NPCs or non-player characters, right? There's a large portion of people who believe that there are people walking around this planet who don't have souls. And that concept never really resonated with me, So what I was able to remote view is that the people who walk around who are essentially on autopilot or who don't feel like they're present or that they have a soul or consciousness, their soul fractals are simply existing in an alternate timeline than your own. So they're just on base autopilot mode. Doesn't mean that they don't have a soul. It just means that they're not fully present in the timeline that you're in. If that makes sense.
What's up, y'all? I want to take a moment and share a word from
That's a crazy breakdown.
Our sponsor. This podcast is brought to you by Kaizen. Kaizen is by far the cleanest electrolyte company that I have come across. They care so deeply about every individual ingredient that goes into these packets. They use microplastic-free pink Himalayan sea salt. They use organic flavors. Mixed berry is by far my favorite. It's insanely delicious. It tastes like you're eating or drinking real food. Sometimes electrolytes, they have like a weird metallic battery-esque type taste. This tastes like food. It tastes organic. It tastes delicious. In the lemon lime flavor, they actually used real lemon and real lime. It's absurd. I haven't seen any company that cares more about their ingredients in the electrolyte space, and I think you guys will enjoy it if you try it yourself. If you would like to try it, you can go to livekaizen.com/align and you'll get 15% off. That's live, L-I-V-E, Kaizen, Kaizen.com/align for 15% off. Cheers.
What is a soul? How do you define soul?
I would define a soul as an accumulation of energetic fractals, light fractals. So it's not just one thing. I mean, it's many things. Like if you think about the concept of a table, right? And you look at that table and you're like, that table is solid. Now I can put stuff on the table, but in reality, that table is not solid at all. It's actually just a series of little tiny atoms that are all.
Yeah, or atoms that are vibrating so slow that it appears solid, but it's really all, everything has a frequency or vibration. So everything is made up of atoms. We learned that in chemistry.
Fluctuating to create the illusion of a solid table. Our soul is basically the same thing. It's a malleable, energetic sort of compilation of fractals.
I asked this to, I had a Vedic astrologer on recently. I asked like, what would be the financial portfolio of a Vedic astrologer for 2026? How closely, if we had to hold you accountable to this, to be able to look back, say in 8 months, what would your closest prediction be to what's going to happen within markets? Do you see what's happening within stock markets, within crypto markets, within housing markets, any other places that would be supportive, that could be little clues or breadcrumbs of where to invest?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, I mean, I definitely had very specific, like I see things in quarters, right, of the year. So like, that's how I see things. I always see the year as a circle, kind of like a clock, right? And then there's like different quarters in the year. So things pop up like in that circle, if that makes sense. It's just how I visualize it. And so I believe that there was a lot of like economic movement in the springtime of this year is what I saw. Don't quote me on that because I don't remember most of what I remote view. I do have a 2026 prediction video though that does go into the financials. I didn't deep dive into the financial markets. But like I said, in general, we're going to have a downturn in the stocks, upturn in crypto, even though crypto's down right now. And then we're also going to have an uptick in precious metals. For me personally, I am a huge believer in many eggs and many baskets. I have a stock portfolio. I have cryptocurrency. I have, precious metals. I have money in the bank, which I don't even believe in. I have cash. I have, I like a little bit of everything because you never fucking know. But also like I'm a bit of a prepper as well. So I have food, I have water, like I have off-grid resources to, make the food if I needed to, in a grid down situation. So, I'm a believer in that. It's better to be safe than sorry.
Your book is Your Anxiety is Giving Me Anxiety.
Yep.
What is your relationship to anxiety within yourself?
I've always suffered from anxiety. So since I was a kid, I understand it now, obviously, in me just being more empathic and energetically sensitive. So instead of just interacting with the physical world and people and having conversations like a normal person, I'm having the conversations and I'm feeling all the things in between the lines. So I kind of take the psychological, biological, cognitive, and spiritual approach to anxiety. What I found is that no matter if we look at the Eastern or the Western methods to anxiety, everyone's just focused on the symptoms. Great. Well, when you're feeling a panic attack, come on, pop that pill. Oh, well, if you're feeling, anxious, then just breathe through it. And for me, it's like, okay, great. I can breathe through it all day long, but it's still going to come up tomorrow. So how do we sustainably stop anxiety for good and prevent it from coming back in the future? So that's what the book is about. Like I tell people, this is not a pill to pop. This is not a quick fix. This is a deep dive into reprogramming your neural pathways. Like straight up. That's what it is. So it's definitely not for everyone. But if someone has been suffering from anxiety and they haven't found anything that helps them, then this book, as a last resort, it's going to be the thing, but you're going to have to put in the work.
It feels like anxiety, the word anxiety is different than like stress. An acute stressor is very natural and healthy. I think anxiety is like
More chronic.
Yeah, it's like a chronic kind of background noise or a sensation of stasis or frustration as a product of that. What would you say is at the root of anxiety for human beings?
Oh my goodness. So
I'm about to answer that real quick. I ain't gonna lie. What I think, actually, what I heard depression is you focusing the past on your past in a negative way, and like if you're stuck on the past, then you're depressed, or it's an easy way to become depressed, especially if you stuck on the negative parts of your past and stuff like that. But when it comes to anxiety, is you willing, like, think about the future, but in a negative way. So like pessimistic, and you're scared of the future. Pretty much, you're being scared of the future. So if you in the present moment, then it will be easier for you to navigate, especially knowing that you can't control, or you know what you can control, and that's yourself, being present and doing what's best for you right now at this present moment. Yeah, you could think about the future, like, but my take, I think you should focus on the present and make sure that what you're doing is beneficial for the future. And yeah, I'm starting to do more of that.
when I was deep diving into the root cause of anxiety, I ended up linking it to time. I know it sounds weird, but hear me out. So I ended up linking the cause of anxiety to the past, the cause of anxiety to the present, and the cause to the future. So I actually divide the book into past anxiety, present anxiety, and future anxiety. They're all very.
And yeah, I could see why she did that too, because your past can have, or it has an effect on most people, really, because that's where all the trauma and everything, that's where that comes from. So yeah, it's very possible to be anxious for your past, and because the things you experienced in the past, if they were negative, then you think you're bound to experience more negative things. It's all subconscious. So yeah, if you get a hold of that, then get a hold of your life, and reality looks better. Seeing that right now.
very different anxieties. They have all very different sources, and there's actually different methods and mechanisms to clear it. So, for example, present moment anxiety would be, your anxiety is giving me anxiety. It's the contagion. It's the spreading of energy. It's the sensitivities. It's picking up on someone else's bad day.
And also, I keep pausing, but if you did not know, fun fact, stress is contagious. Like she just said, negative energy. That's contagious. It's pretty much stress. Stress is a part of negative energy, or it's pretty much has the same effects in a way, or has the same origin if you want to go that route. But yeah, it's contagious. Like, it's crazy.
That's like coming from the present moment. It could be watching the news and feeling anxious. That's coming from the present moment. It could be the fact that your house is so messy and you don't know where to begin to clean it. That's present moment anxiety. And there are different things that we can do to solve present moment anxiety. Whereas past anxiety is more so unresolved traumas that we can get into, unhealed, repressed energies that are creating this sense of restlessness, the sense of overwhelm. Like you can't fit one more thing into your backpack because you're already carrying too much. So what do we do about past anxiety? And future anxiety is all the what ifs. Oh my goodness, what if I don't get the job? What if I don't have all the ingredients for that recipe this weekend? What if no one comes to my birthday party? It's that. And future anxiety is pretty cool because technically we're tapping into the quantum field. We're tapping into infinite possibilities. We just tend to tap into the worst case scenario. So I teach people how to tap into the best case scenarios. So it's, like I said, it's pretty in depth.
How do you define 0 point consciousness?
It's a space of awareness where nothing exists and everything exists simultaneously.
Did you need to discover 0 point awareness within yourself out of necessity? Or was it something that naturally arose? Or like what was your stumbling into 0 point awareness?
Yeah, it was out of curiosity. It was out of curiosity.
What was the journey of that?
Yeah. So after I got my first past life regression at 16, I realized.
Actually, I think 0 point consciousness. I think that's what Nikola Tesla made, or not made, but he found a way to access it. I feel like,
holy fuck, reincarnation is real. And holy shit, time is an illusion. And no one seems to be talking about this. So it opened up a huge can of worms for me. I started giving really anyone who would listen a past life regression. I was completely untaught, untrained, very irresponsible of me, but I wanted to do it. I wanted to explore past lifetimes and simultaneous time and Akashic records and lessons that human beings would go through in a lifetime, just to observe and gain access to information and insight. Then I started to realize that it's really inefficient to put someone into a state of relaxation or sort of a trance consciousness state where I can guide them through their past lives. I mean, not everyone was willing to let go of their ego or their identity or their hold on this reality. So I started to ask myself, how can I expedite the process? How can I make this more efficient and effective? And then I asked myself, is it possible for me to regress myself into their past lifetime, into their Akashic records? And so instead of taking 60 minutes to regress someone into their past lives, like pulling teeth, I started doing it in 45 minutes, in 30 minutes, in 5 minutes. And now I just close my eyes and I can leave my body and go wherever I want. So that's sort of the birthplace for me.
that's actually mad cool, if you ask me.
Of remote viewing, of getting out of my body, of getting into a 0 point, because you can't gain access to any information if you've got emotional attachment if you've got sort of a preconceived notion of what you're going to expect, or if you've got, anything that's sort of tethering you down to this present moment. So I've constantly got to get into a point of 0 point objective observation in order to gain access to the insights and informations that I receive.
What would be the biggest barrier blocking someone from arriving in a state of equanimity?
Distraction. Every single thing in this world is distracting us. And the second that we're not distracted and we're bored, we're uncomfortable, because no one wants to be uncomfortable. No one wants to sit with themselves. No one wants to feel their body. No one wants to feel lonely or their emotions that they haven't dealt with. You have to peel back every single layer of who you are to realize that you're none of it, to be able to get to a place where you can experience all of it. And that's a long process to go through. And not a lot of people are willing to put in the work, but everyone can do it.
I was thinking about that yesterday on a walk back. I live in Miami. I have an electric bike. The tire popped. And so I took it to a shop to have them replace the tube. And so I was walking back from beach volleyball, all very cliche Miami things to do in a day. And as I was walking back, I didn't have my phone, I wasn't like looking at my phone. And I noticed a desire to look at my phone. And I had kind of a little bit of a sad moment of realization of how much of my life I've spent as a complete drug addict. And I am wasting my life away. Like something that I've heard is if a person is a drug addict from age 20 to 35 or whatever, they kind of like emotionally stunt themselves during that time until they come out of the hole of being a drug addict. And I kind of had a somewhat of a strong sensation, like a kick in the ass of feeling like you're most of your life, you've been a complete addict. And you were just seeking out the next distraction and the next kind of trap door to escape yourself. And eventually you're going to transition out of this body and you will have missed it. And I was like, wow. I gotta wake the fuck up, bro.
I mean, but so does everyone else in society. Like,
that's real. Me personally, I'm cutting all distractions. Still got ways to go, but yeah, that does seem like a lot of work. Meditating. I mean, in the way she's describing it, like, it's not impossible. Just gotta focus. That's about it.
Like, it's pretty wild.
How would you guide someone into waking the fuck up?
Well, I mean, question everything, right? That's rule number one. The number one question most of humanity doesn't want to ask, okay? It's not how corrupt is the government? It's, am I happy? The number one reason why people distract themselves with a whole bag of chips or endlessly scrolling on social media or watching Love is Blind until your brain cells melt, okay? It's because they're unhappy. When you get to a place where you're happy, you don't need to distract yourself. You are in full flow, in full movement, in full creative bliss. You are willing to smile at a stranger and have a conversation with a rando at the grocery store. Like, you are open, you are present, you are aware. And yeah, a little bit of distraction, a little bit of screen time is fine, right? But you're not doing it to hide, to run away, or to disassociate. I mean, I'll say that personally, like, I have a very human life despite what I do. But I love throwing around the football or the frisbee or playing basketball or rollerblading. I'm a very physical, active individual. I love painting and art and creativity and dance and expression. Like, I love being a mom and like having my son and doing all of the things. I am a very, very incredibly present person. And I wouldn't have it any other way. So there's so much of life to experience, not to mention I love food. I'm a Cancer, so food is my love language. I love cooking. I love tasting. I love expressing. I love hosting. It's like there is so much of life to live and to experience and to embody. But if you're not happy, then you're hiding. And that's the first question anyone needs to ask themselves is, am I happy? And then you need to take a long look in the mirror and take radical responsibility over your life and say, well, then how do I change what's not making me happy? And hop into the driver's seat of the vehicle.
I'd like to take a moment and thank the sponsor of today's episode. We are brought to you by Huel.
That's the third one. Making bank.
These a little nutritionally complete meals in a bottle are a lifesaver to me. Each one contains 35 grams of protein, 27 essential vitamins and minerals. They all taste incredibly delicious, and they come in clutch for me anytime I'm in a rush. Sometimes I will have not eaten breakfast. I'll come home from a meeting or a training session, and then I won't have very much time before the next meeting. I'll grab one of these suckers out of the fridge. They're cold, they're thick, they're delicious. I love the flavors. They have strawberry banana, which I already finished while sitting here. Evidence, they're delicious. Cookies and cream, iced coffee, vanilla. They're all amazing. I like the ingredients. Each one is under $5, so the convenience
And you be having good stuff too. Cookies and cream.
of that, and the price is very affordable. If you want to try it yourself, you can go to huel.com/align15. Align15 will give you 15% off. That's HUEL.com/align15 for 15% off of your order. Enjoy. What time were you born? On July 8th?
July 8th, 1992 at I want to say 8:15 a.m. or 9:15 a.m.
Nice. Was born 14 hours and 5 years before you. I think 5 years, 6 years. Something
Nice.
like that.
What's your rising?
July 7th. I don't know. You got to tell me these things.
Dude.
Cancer. I think Cancer, Sagittarius, Scorpio, I think is the arc.
Okay.
Of what folks tell me.
Okay. Yeah.
People tell me about these things.
Cancer, Leo, and Scorpio. So we'd probably be good friends. We'd nurture each other, I bet.
I can see that. What are you people so afraid of? Why are people so afraid of waking up? Why not just do it? Why not? Like I have the awareness or belief, I believe it's just a knowing that all beings, myself included, are completely enlightened right now. And it's just, we're playing a game of like peekaboo with God within ourselves. And there's something almost cute and nice about being in denial of actually how powerful we fucking are. And why are we so scared of coming into alignment with our power and our truth?
I mean, that's a great question. It's about accepting responsibility. Like, it's easier to be comfortable and being content with what you think you know rather than stepping into the unknown, right? The greatest fear that humanity has is the unknown. So why change? Why do anything different? Even if you're unhappy, keep doing the same things because you know what to expect, right? So it's really the fear of the unknown is, I believe, humanity's greatest fear. The second that you're willing to change is the second that you're willing to shift everything in your life. But you have to stop playing the victim. It's not your boss. It's not the in-laws. It's not Donald Trump. It's not the fucking politics or the wars going on. It's not the economics. It's not, the raise that you didn't get. It's nothing and no one else other than you. Quantum physics states, right? Like, this reality is created through our observation, our conscious observation. Like, I always say that this is a simulation in the way that it is rendering as we observe it. It's kind of like a video game, like an open world concept.
I definitely heard that too. When you or anybody isn't looking at, like, see like a wall or something, when nobody is looking at it, it's not solid. It's not what you would look at and see. But when you do look at it, it turns into what you know as the wall or whatever item, object, whatever the case may be. So, yeah, I heard that. And it definitely relates to rendering, what she said.
Right? You're like running around and you see the buildings in the background sort of render as you get close to them. That's exactly how this reality works. And guess what? It's a lot of work to wake up, to realize you're unhappy, to change every aspect of your life in order to be happy, because it takes responsibility and the awareness that you are the one creating it all. And no one wants to put in the work. I do, because I want to live a happy, fulfilled, present, expressive life, you know? And I think people want that, but they want the quick fix. They want a pill to pop, you know? They're not willing to put in the work. Eventually, it's going to get so bad for them at an individual level that they're going to be forced to awaken. Or what I find is that the other path to awakening is you have everything. Oh my God, you have the dream job. You have the dream wife. You have the dream house. You have the dream everything. You have all the friends. You have all the things that society tells you you need to have. And yet you're still fucking not happy. It's not enough. It's never enough. Or you've got nothing at all and you realize you're really not happy. Either way, from the top or the bottom, you're going to realize that you're not happy and that this material world is not going to do it for you. So you've got to seek deeper. And that's what most of society is going through right now, is a complete revolution of consciousness and awareness.
I think what it is, I'm like processing my own question. I think that we have a sunk cost fallacy with the illusion of our lives.
Bingo.
And I think it feels like it would be so much more work to tear down the foundation of the structure that we've been built upon. And we're not even us. We're our entire history and ancestry and lineage and all of that. And so to be the one to tear down the entire foundation of who you think yourself to be is just, it's like, you know, I already got my sunk cost in this thing. Like this is it. To tear all of this down would be so much work. But if you're able to take that leap to either you tear it down yourself, or, you know, the truth of reality kind of naturally like ayahuasca-ing you into releasing the baggage of yourself, tearing it down for you because you're not willing to let go. I believe it will happen regardless. I think that's like the math or meta math of life. It's going towards truth. It's going towards the release of shadow, the release of baggage, whether you like it or not. So you can either just choose to do the work now, or you can go kicking and screaming, and eventually you'll get snapped into truth. But I believe it's like a marriage to the sunk cost of the construct of who we think ourselves to be. And it just feels like it would be so much at a subconscious level. It would just be so much work to let go of this boat and trust that, you know, the universe or life or God or whatever has us. And so we stay stuck in our shanty. And then, you know, eventually we transition into another life and another life and another life. And then I think at some point, one of those lives will start to get it. And that probably is when like the reincarnation wheel probably, I don't know, transitions into something else.
Absolutely. Yeah. I couldn't agree more.
Great. What do you think about that? I mean, I'm just spitballing. What do you think about that?
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, think about like general marriages, right? It's like, well, you know, it's been 25 years. So we got a life together. We got a house together. We have banking. It's way too entangled. You know, it's just, you know, this is my life now. I was like, fuck no, it doesn't have to be, you know?
Where do you think you're at within your own relationship to the sunk cost fallacy of your life?
I got nothing. I'm in a place where I have no attachment to anything. I mean,
really? No attachment?
No. Burn the house down. Seriously. Get rid of all of it. I'm not even kidding. Yeah. Like I'm at a place, okay? I'm 33. I have lost everything. And I'm talking like all material possessions, all my money, like all savings, like relationship, everything, about 3 or 4 times now. Okay. Like I've been at the bottom of the barrel, totally dying, nothing left. Now, when it first happened, you know, I'm like, oh my God, I'm never going to come back out of this. Like I'm going to be, you know, sunk for life, right? By the 3rd or 4th time, you're like, yeah, I'm going to make it back tenfold, you know? So it's just things come and go. They ebb and flow, you know, the sun shines and then it goes away behind a cloud. And like, I'm here for all of it. So at this point, I've got nothing sunk in. I'm down for whatever direction I flow into. And I'm just here for the ride.
Are you attached to your health?
Well, recently experienced a lot of death, just in myself. So yeah, I mean, even when I literally am like 2 days ago, I don't know what it was, but I was just full on dying in bed and I was there for the experience. So am I attached to my health? I mean, I guess I appreciate when I am healthy, and I think I can learn objectively from when I'm not healthy. So I'm in a state of objective observation when I want to dip into the experience, when I want to dip into the emotion, when I want to dip into the excitement. I can do that. But for the most part, I try and just sort of observe from above.
What do you think about flat Earth?
I think that there are certain things that could be, accredited to, maybe there is something beyond.
What do y'all think about Artemis 2? That's interesting. I want to know. Let me know in the comments.
Antarctica, right? I definitely know that there's an inner Earth. I've seen it. But I mean, I've been off planet quite a few times. And from what I see, it's round. And from what I know, there is space. And from what I know, there are other planets that are also round and spherical. And I've been to those too. So from my own personal experience, I do believe that the Earth is round.
I'm so grateful for the sake of this entire podcast that you said that. I feel like, oh no. No. What's in the middle of the Earth?
Well, I mean, when I went to Antarctica for the first time to check out the underground military base, I saw this giant hole, like going into the planet. I'm like, what is going on here? And so later on, many years later, I ended up going back and exploring it. And I mean, there's like a full on sun down there. There are a ton of like extraterrestrial species down there. Like it's a whole like situation happening underneath the ground. So there's like military bases, there's bunkers, there's railway systems, there's reptilian caves, and then there's like these inner earth pockets or civilizations under there, which is really fascinating.
What's on Mars?
So Mars, yeah, actually it's funny enough. Just today I released a remote viewing Mars video on my website. And so I went up there and there are a couple of different extraterrestrial species there. And there are
Thank God. That has to be, well, for me, one of the coolest parts or possibilities that you could do with remote viewing. Because imagine going sightseeing different planets. Like, I love astronomy ever since I was a kid, like space and all that. So that would be monumental. I'm gonna be real. Like, it's cool to me.
underground, I guess, bases or bunkers. And it looked like they were mining some sort of material in
On Mars?
species there. And there are underground different extraterrestrial species there. And there are underground, I guess, bases or bunkers. And it looked like they were mining some sort of material in Mars. I don't know what it was. I didn't really stop to talk to any of the beings, but it was quite fascinating.
When you are remote viewing, you are like, what is that experience like for you? Are you meditating essentially? Like, what does it look like to see Elizabeth April in a remote viewing state? Is there incense burning? Are there candles? Are your eyes rolling to the back of your head?
No, there's nothing special going on. It's just me sitting, closing my eyes. Because I could see a lot of things when I was a kid with my eyes, I decided to make the boundary when my physical eyes are open, I'm experiencing and seeing this 3D realm. When my eyes are closed, I can choose to open my third eye and then experience and see into other realms and dimensions. So that's just sort of my boundary that I put on very early on. So yeah, it's really just me sitting, breathing, getting out of my body, letting go of all sensation, physical reaction, getting into that equanimous state, and then going where I need to go. And it's cool because it'll be like 2 minutes of silence and I could talk for like 45 minutes because it's just a download of information. And of course, the English language is so cumbersome to explain things in. It just takes so many words to explain something. I've always said that I would love to just hook my brain up to like a TV screen so I could just take people with me on my remote viewing travels. And I'm hoping that in this lifetime, we have that technology.
And you've seen about 89% of your predictions that have arose within your remote viewing experiences have generally come to fruition.
I mean, that's just 2025 in general. But yeah, I mean, even like I predicted a giant tsunami in Tokyo or a giant earthquake in Tokyo, and that happened. I mean, there's been a lot of like, just go back and 2024 predictions, 2023 predictions. I've been doing this for a while. So just go back and check it out and validate that for yourself.
Who is Donald Trump from your perspective?
Yeah, so funny. So yeah, years ago, I was like, what soul would choose that meat suit? You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, like what is going on? So I really wanted to know. And essentially his soul mission is he is the destroyer, the destructor, the bringer of chaos. Like that is what he's here to do. He is here to create chaos.
Well, he's doing a pretty good job at that.
And to bring down the old system. So what people don't understand, people who love him, and I'm super indifferent. I'm also Canadian, so I'm bipartisan and I just don't buy into politics in general. But yeah, people really think that he's like some savior. And I get it. Like, he's different. But he's just really here to fuck shit up, and I think no matter what side you fall on, we could all agree that that's exactly what he's doing. And then I think once he does take down the old system and sort of untie all of the entanglement at a global level, then and only then can we bring someone in, or maybe an organization, who can really sort of present new solutions to old problems.
So he's like untying a knot.
Exactly. Yeah.
Does that make him good or bad?
I mean, it makes him beneficial to humanity. I would rather have him than the other, quote unquote candidates, just because of the chaos and destruction that he's causing.
It seems to me like the shadow government or the beings or individuals or entities that kind of run the world, and the president is like kind of their puppet figure. If that narrative is correct, it seems like they shift between sides. And it seems to me, and my very limited understanding of life in the world and politics, but is that they were kind of more right for a while. And like Bush, World Trade Centers, things like that. It's kind of like, okay, this seems like they're like the bad guys. And then the C word happened, the COV. I don't even want to spell it. That's how you know it's bad. If you're suppressing information, you know you're a bad guy. And that's how I know. Now I know if I'm told not to listen to something, you're the bad guy. It's the easiest litmus test for me. And the bad guys freaking jumped. Like I used to think that I was like more liberal. I'm like, I love gay people, love minority groups, peace. And now I'm like, nope, they're the bad guys. Not gays and minorities, but like the previous liberal, further leaning left. Like I don't maintain general neutrality, but it seems to me like there was a flip.
Absolutely. I mean, it's so funny because for years I've always told people like, stop with the labels, like, hi, like I identify as a bi-gendered, queer, Caucasian, it's like, oh my God, like, are we separate?
I ain't gonna lie. They got mad titles for them. And it seemed like the same thing for the ones that I heard. Like most of them seem the same. It's like imagine. I think they have over like 100. I saw a video or something like that. Damn. Yeah. There's only so much things my opinion, that I can't even think of. But that's no hate though. I'm just saying.
Separating more, or are we actually wanting to come together, in unity? And so a lot of my views naturally, you could just pocket into Republican. But like I said, I don't subscribe to either side because both sides were just created to pit us against each other.
See, facts. I be seeing all the time. Divide and conquer, bro. Like it's two sides of the same coin. Literally, bro.
So I'm excited to see what the new system has to offer. I don't know what that's going to look like, but I am excited to see the downfall of the old system. And I don't think we would see, the release of the Epstein files and other things that are happening right now if it wasn't for the Trump administration, let alone all of the shit that's going on the back end that we don't know about. That's really important to sort of breaking up the shadow government.
What happened to Jim Carrey?
Oh my God. Well, yeah, I mean, if you follow Jim Carrey at all, you'll know that he was speaking out against the Illuminati, against, human trafficking for a number of years. I'm really surprised they didn't take him out earlier because of him being so vocal. But there was two reasons why they didn't take him out earlier. One, they felt like he was too valuable. And two, they felt like if they did take him out, they would want to replace him, and they could never replace his talent so that people would know. So their greatest fear in replacing him and taking him out came true a couple days ago when he literally accepted this lifetime achievement award in France, and immediately went viral and the internet is blowing up saying it's not really Jim Carrey. Personally, I love it because, I've been talking about this stuff for a long time, and to have average, everyday, mainstream people talking about this, is it a body double? Is it an actor?
Yeah. R.I.P. Jim Carrey, allegedly.
Is it makeup? Is it potentially a clone? So what
Definitely look different though. I ain't gonna lie about that part. But allegedly.
I saw anyway is that they did end up taking him out and replacing him, and it's not a body double, it's not an actor, it's not makeup, it is a clone. And there's a whole process. Clones aren't robots, they're biological beings that have a consciousness implanted in them. What's really crazy is that the Epstein files actually covers not only cloning, right? But they also cover the technology talking about implanting consciousness in and out of different bodies, which is pretty wild. So same thing. I know this stuff sounds crazy, but it's all getting validated through these files.
Do you believe, and we can wrap up here soon, I appreciate you answering all these, what are probably redundant questions for you, but it's interesting to me. I've heard from many of folks that there's going to be disclosure of ETs and such very soon.
It's about time, bro. I mean, it makes sense. Bro, I don't know about you, but I don't think there's any way that there's no aliens. It has to be alien. There's no way out of all the species. I mean, not even species, all the planets in all the universe, all of the universe. There's only us on this one planet. That don't even sound right, bro. And if we're not even the only species on this planet, so how on other planets there's no life at all? You can't tell me that there's no such thing as aliens. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I'm not hearing that, bro. I'm not hearing that. but they definitely need to disclose like aliens and stuff. Like, I can't wait till that.
What is the Galactic Federation? What are ETs? Are they coming? Are they there? Are they here? Are there ETs walking among us right now? Are they going to present themselves? If so, when?
Great. Do we have 5 hours? I mean, that was not one question.
I know.
Okay,
Fair
so
point.
the Galactic
Just say
Federation
yes.
of Light is an organization of extraterrestrial beings who are here for unity. Okay, they're here for consciousness, expansion, ascension, awakening. They're here to help humanity. You've got the bad guys, which is like the reptilians and the shadow government. And then you got the good guys, which is, the white hats, and then the Galactic Federation of Light. And so, yeah, I mean, disclosure is going to happen. I don't know what that's going to look like. I really feel like between now and 2028, we're going to get a real like global disclosure. From what I've heard, it's going to happen in 2026 through more of like a government lens, which is like a soft launch to it for kind of more mainstream people. And then, I mean, I'm hoping for a full, reptilian shapeshifter type of situation happening. I think that would be ultimate disclosure, but I think that it's going to be a little bit softer than that. So disclosure will happen. It's a huge step in evolution. We want to get to a point where we become a galactic civilization, which essentially means that we trade resources with interdimensional beings.
Yeah, we trying to get up on that Kardashev scale. Definitely, if you ask me, at least type 1. We still type 0. If you don't know what the Kardashev scale is, it's like the scale of civilizations, like, or species. Yeah, civilization is pretty much, we type 0. I think type 1 is being able to use all the energy on the planet, something like that. Then type 2, this the sun. Then it just keeps expanding and stuff like that, something like that. But what I know for a fact is that we type 0, so we got a lot of work to do.
Which is going to advance us tenfold and also take us off the planet, which is really exciting. And then as far as like, are aliens walking around with us now? Short answer is yes, absolutely. There are quite a few sort of extraterrestrial hybrids who look very human, but who look very different, who walk around with us, which is fascinating. And then there's a concept called starseeds, which is a galactic volunteer or an extraterrestrial soul choosing and deciding to incarnate into a human body to essentially have a mission and to lead humanity into ascension and into unity.
It's like a bodhisattva type figure. Are you familiar with that
Absolutely.
term, concept?
Yeah, my son's name is Bodhi. So, of course.
Oh, yeah, you get it. Do you know who made the pyramids?
Yeah, I did. So they were engineered by extraterrestrials, mostly by the Anunnaki from what I saw. There was a couple of different beings around at that time, and they used, how do I say this? Like gravitational technology. Like they were able to essentially like levitate things and then also like cut large stones with technology that, I mean, they didn't have to lift a finger, essentially. They had the technology to do all of that. It's quantum technology. Then we'll get there eventually.
Would it be like sound waves?
It could be sound waves. I'm not totally sure how they did that, but I just saw basically a device hovering over the pyramids, levitating giant blocks.
Do you know how long ago? Because there's contention of when they were created.
Yeah, there's a lot of theories to that.
Different.
I couldn't tell you.
Sense.
I couldn't put a number on it.
Do you know how old humans are? Or where the origination of humans are? Are humans aliens? Panspermia?
Yeah.
We all come from stardust?
I do believe that humans are aliens because the way that we evolved, we wouldn't be here right now. We'd be cavemen trying to rub two sticks together to make fire right now if it wasn't for extraterrestrial intervention. So I do believe that we evolved from extraterrestrials. We have extraterrestrial DNA. So in essence, yes, we are hybrids. And from what I've seen as far as human history, there's
That's the case. That's the case. How how did aliens evolve? Something to think about. If it's true, which I most certainly think it is.
about 500,000 years ago that, the Homo erectus or Homo Neanderthal, kind of evolved and was implanted with that DNA originally.
Are there any other questions I should ask you? I enjoyed this very much. Thank you for entertaining my questions.
Yeah, I mean, that pretty much sums it up. That was a lot, but we can always do part two. I'm down for that too.
All right. Thank you very much. I enjoy getting to talk to you. So, your book, Your Anxiety is Giving Me Anxiety, that's probably a great place if people want to go into that aspect of what we're talking about. And then you have YouTube and social media and all the things. It's all under
Yeah,
your
for sure.
heavily, right?
Yep. And my first book is called You're Not Dying, You're Just Waking Up. Highly recommend it for anyone who is going through an ascension or awakening process. I talk about hybridization. I talk about your soul mission. I talk about the different extraterrestrials as well. I talk about the whole reason why we incarnate as a human being in general. So it's a good book to kind of kick off sort of the basic foundational knowledge of being a human.
What religion do you think is most accurate?
Buddhism.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. Thank you all for doing it. That's it. I'll see you next week. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed that episode, you might also enjoy this episode over here, as well as this one over here. Thanks for subscribing. Appreciate you. I'll see you in the next video.
That was a good video conversation. If you ask me, I enjoyed it. I learned some new things as well. Some things was confirmed as well. So that's cool. If y'all was interested in this, see Align podcast with Elizabeth April stuff. It's very interesting content to me. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, the reaction, and everything. Learned something new. Maybe something mind boggled you a little bit, but yeah, at least you're more knowledgeable on certain things. So yeah, I'm grateful for everybody who made it this far, and yeah, we out. I love you guys. See you on the next one. Peace.